Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Start with the big one on Saturday. You already know when it's the third Saturday in October, we get one of the best college football rivalries anywhere. It is the third Saturday in October, Tennessee at Alabama. Alabama, an 8-point favorite in the Circa Sportsbook. The over-under set at 59 in this game. Couple thoughts on this one. First of all, let me take half a second. I got to give credit to Alabama, man. You know, listen, if you've listened to the Aaron Torres pod or if you've listened to the college football betting pod, you know that basically if we're calling a spade, I have had my doubts about Alabama all season long. They keep proving me wrong every step of the way. They lose to Florida State. I sit there and say, I need to see it against UL Monroe. They put up 70 against UL Monroe. Then I said, well, what happens when they play a power conference team? They destroy Wisconsin. Well, they're going on the road to Georgia, beat Georgia at Georgia, and the list keeps going. Well, they come home against Vandy. Are they going to have a letdown after Georgia? Nope. Are they going to have a letdown after beating Vandy after losing to them last year? Nope. All this Alabama team does is keep winning. And I thought in some ways, listen, you can't say that the Missouri win was more impressive than, say, winning at Georgia. But again, to go on the road between two ranked home teams, obviously Vandy 3 weeks ago now and Tennessee this coming weekend, I thought it was in many ways the most impressive performance of the season. I think the thing that stands out to me about Alabama, a few things. Listen, everyone that covers college football has talked Ty Simpson. He's unbelievable. He should be your Heisman Trophy favorite. And my goodness, did he make some big throws in that Missouri game. Ty Simpson finished 23 of 31, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, the stats he's putting up at this point are just ridiculous. Again, keep in mind that he has already faced, this will be his 4th ranked opponent. Florida State, of course, was ranked most of the year as well. On the season, Ty Simpson, 71% completion percentage, 16 touchdowns, 1 interception. I think the other important part, the run game since Florida State has really gotten going. Now, Jam Miller, we will see what his status is as we are recording. It is Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. That SEC injury report will come out later this week. May play, may not, may mean some opportunities for some other guys. You know, I trust in Richard Young. I trust in Kevin Riley. It's just a matter of, we need to see them in a setting like this. They didn't put up a bunch of stats last week against Missouri because Jam Miller played most of the game. The other thing with Alabama, too, that I don't think is getting talked about enough, the defense is actually, every single week it feels like the defense is getting better. And I know statistically, I don't think you can look at the overall season stats and say that this is an elite defense or a championship level defense or whatever. But the bottom line is, listen, it was a bad day against Florida State. They did give up a lot of yards on the ground against Georgia in that game a few weeks ago. But bring it up because the Vandy game, they give up 14 points. One of the touchdowns was on a big run. And overall, you take out about 2 plays from Vanderbilt. They're at about 80 or 90 yards of total offense. And then last week against Missouri, opening drive, scripted drive, touchdown for Missouri. They then score another touchdown late in the game. They're essentially their final possession. And in between, they really couldn't do much. And I was just really impressed by this Alabama defense and their ability to take care of business, do what they need to do. And again, I don't think the season-long stats show just how good this defense has been over the course of this season. Let's go ahead and talk about Tennessee really quick. Listen, kind of an interesting, I think season for Tennessee. There was so much conversation about them early. They have that Georgia game. Listen, Tennessee fans, you don't need me to tell you, you lose in heartbreaking fashion, whatever. But I bring it up because quietly have won 3 straight, a little bit off the radar. I don't know that a lot of people are talking about this team as they come into this game ranked number 11 in the country, 3-game winning streak. And by the way, 5-1 overall. Like, is Tennessee, and I know people in Knoxville will say I'm crazy for saying this, have to be the quietest 5-1 team in college football, right? Alabama's 5-1, we talk about them. Oregon's 5-1, we talk about them. Vandy 5-1, we talk about them. I'm not saying people aren't talking about Tennessee, but it has been a quiet few weeks. Their most recent game, Do we call it cause for concern? They played Arkansas last week at home. Now, Arkansas was coming off a bye, but so was Tennessee. I don't know that I would necessarily say that I'm super worried about the Tennessee defense solely because of the Arkansas game. First of all, it is worth noting, like the offense was again phenomenal for Tennessee. Joey Aguilar, almost 9 yards per completion, 221 yards passing, 264 yards rushing for Tennessee, about 6.5 yards per carry. And then with the defense, listen, it wasn't pretty. You gave up 240 yards of total offense. That's not, or 240 yards rushing and almost 500 yards of total offense. That's not good. But the counter to that, I don't think people realize how good this Arkansas offense is. Now, their defense stinks. Their defense can't get off the field, and Arkansas, frankly, commits too many penalties and has too many turnovers. But I don't know that we should be defining Tennessee solely by that Arkansas game. What I do think is fair to say, though, is there are some season-long concerns with this Tennessee defense, right? Statistically, it is last in the SEC in pass defense. This is a defense that's giving up close to over 250 yards per game passing defense. I think that started with the Syracuse game where, you kind of dismiss it. You assume it's going to get better. Georgia, Gunnar Stockton. I think, frankly, we maybe thought Gunnar Stockton was a little bit better than he actually is because of what he did against that Tennessee secondary. And then from there, obviously the last two games with Mississippi State and Arkansas as well. And I think the concern also is teams are now running the ball on them as well. Over 240 yards rushing for the Mississippi State Bulldogs a few weeks ago. That was the game that Tennessee won in thrilling fashion. Georgia ran the ball on them, and certainly Arkansas did as well. And so as we get to our pick, Circa Sportsbook, again, Tennessee, Alabama, an 8-point favorite, the over-under set at 59. I got to be real. I actually do like Alabama to win. I like Alabama to cover. My official Circa Sportsbook pick is Alabama -8. Listen, a couple of things here. One, I just think we have to acknowledge Alabama's a really good team, and I think they're one of college football's most complete teams as well. Listen, I think at this point in the year, like rankings are kind of, it doesn't really matter, right? And I think increasingly as we get deeper into the college football playoff era, we'll see that they matter less and less. But I'll say this, I don't have an AP top 25 vote. And listen, I think justifiably Ohio State, Indiana, Miami should be 1, 2, 3 in some order. But what I will also say, among the one-loss teams, Alabama to me looks as good, if not better, than any of them. Maybe Oregon's in the conversation, whatever. And certainly, by the way, there's other undefeated teams. I don't want to dismiss Texas Tech or Texas A&M or whatever. But I just bring it up because I think Alabama's playing as well as anybody right now. And you don't necessarily see it in the polls because they took that early season loss. But every single week, they continue to get better. And again, I know I've said it 2 or 3 times, but I don't think the defense statistically, it shows just how, like we focus on Ty Simpson and you look at the defense and you know that the defense is good overall. But again, I just don't think we realize just how good this defense is because again, you had a frankly, a not very good performance against Florida State. But I just bring it up because all things considered, guess what? After all that, Alabama does have the number 2 pass defense in the SEC, And I think the run defense stats, again, are skewed because of a big performance against Florida State. So I could go on and on. But one, I think the defense is improving by the week. Ty Simpson is great. And I think Ty Simpson against that Tennessee secondary, Tennessee fans, you don't need me to tell you, but it's got to be a cause for concern, right? Now, I know that one of Ty Simpson's better receivers, Derek Meadows, true freshman, took a nasty hit against Missouri. He will not be playing in this game, but Jeremy Bernard's still playing in this game. Isaiah Horton. I think it's interesting with Alabama. Quietly, Ryan Williams, who was like Mr. Whatever, NIL, Mr. Whatever after the Georgia game last year, he's kind of like the number 3 wide receiver on this team right now. And so do I worry a little bit about the rushing attack if Jam Miller is not ready to go? A little bit, but I don't know that I worry that much. And I do worry about this Tennessee defense, especially on the road, especially at night. What's also worth noting, and Tennessee fans, you don't need me to tell you the history, but if my math is correct, it was the early 2000s, the last time that Tennessee won in Knoxville, or won in Tuscaloosa, Now, I understand a lot of those teams were coached by Nick Saban. A lot of the Tennessee teams were coached by Derek Dooley, Butch Jones, and Jeremy Pruitt, and that is not a fair fight at all. But it's just a tough place to play, a tough place to win. And I don't know that this matchup, I think, favors Tennessee much at all. So go ahead and give me Alabama to win. Give me Alabama to cover the 8 points.